So, coding challenge, Meetup edition 14th of November. For going through the beginners, I'd like to check what happened yesterday. So we got in top 3, Jaco scoring 89, Desmond, same score, second place, and then by the first time, Alex, so he managed to get top 1 with a very good score of 94. So, let's see how to fix it. Of course, as always, there isn't a single way to solve problems, right? We can approach them in many different ways. So I'll just try to propose one option, not necessarily better or worse than others, right? So the first question says, am I old? So we have the age. So the algorithm says, hey, if the age is above 100 years, then yes, you are old, right? If not, you are still young. Why not? So probably the most basic way to solve it is using if-else. So we can do if age is above 100, then return yes, else return no. Right? It's important here to pay attention to details. Some people failed because they forgot to add the exclamation mark, right? Something like that. Let's see if it works. Correct, it works, right? So this is the classic way to solve this kind of problems in JavaScript. I think it's also worth to mention that now we can use ternary operators. So we can do return age above 100, then yes, else, no, right? Even easier. So that line is exactly the same as this, right? It's a simpler way, it's a shortcut. So that should work as well. Hopefully it works. So any question? No?
Do you need the no in that situation?
Well, because the example was asking us to return no or yes.
Right,
That was that particular example, right? So question number 2 was a bit tricky, to be honest. So question number 2 is, we got a list of fruits and we want to return which one is above this given price. So how many arguments do we have here? 2, the fruits and the price, right? Because we want to find a particular fruit, we can return fruits dot find. Thank you, you. And then who said that? I was Ben. Sorry. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, you as well. Right. So then let's start writing the long algorithm, right? I mean, I'm sure you know how to do these things already. So that's the fruit. So then what do we need to take here? Return what? Fruit.price what? Greater than price. Correct. Thank you, Tom. Right? So this is correct, right? Easy, easy. Obviously, let's try to improve it. Let's create amazing short algorithms. So we can do return fruits.find, then we got the arrow function, so we just got the fruit, and then we do the same thing, right? Fruit.price about price. Like that? Make sense? The same, right? One line. Still works. Any question? No? Thank you. Question number 3. Get user details. That's a classic question about objects. So, we've discussed this question here several times already. So the problem we got here is we have a user, and then we can return the first name, user.firstname, dot notation, first name. But if we do that, can you tell me the color schema on the left hand side? Is it green, 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 red, red, green, red, red? Say it again. Green, red. Marta is right. Green, red. Right? So here we return the first name, but then here we expected to return the last name. So if we change it, if we are over motivated today to do that, so what's the color schema now? Red, green. Correct. Correct. So to solve that, we have a second argument here, which is the property that we want to return. So what do we need to do to solve the problem? Second argument. How we call the second argument? Property, okay. And then what? Can we do object.property? Right, so color schema of this exercise. Red, agree. We are not returning anything because we don't have any property called literally speaking property. So Tom was suggesting to do that, which is correct. If we do that, property is transformed into the value that we are providing here. In the first example, technically speaking, we'll be returning user.firstname. On the second example, we'll be returning user.lastname. Correct. Any question? No? Awesome. Question number 4. Get the minimum. We have a bunch of integers and we want to see which one is the minimum. So you'll tell me, what do we need to do here? 3 arguments. ABC. Number 1, yeah, I buy that. Because we know we're talking, I mean, ABC will be okay. This is a very simple example. But let's think about creating readable code. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. Even though I agree you need to type more, but this you're providing a better level of feedback to your colleagues because they already know that we are talking about numbers, not strings, not objects, just numbers, right? And then what? Return math.mean. Remember, math starts with capital, right? And then we just simply have to provide a list of numbers, right? Someone asked me, what happens if one of the examples has, instead of 3, it has 5 numbers or 2, right? So this will be covered on the intermediate training. We'll see how to dynamically calculate the minimum, the maximum, the average, whatever, when we don't know how many arguments the function will receive. But in that particular case, because this is just beginners, we really know that we'll always have 3 arguments, right? Any question? Will it work? Yes. Last question. Triple odd number. So we have a number. If the number is even, we just want to return it. But if it's odd, we want to multiply it by 3. It's a weird example, right? But we don't care about how realistic the logic is. We just want to solve it. If we try to run it, it doesn't work. It throws an error. Why it throws an error? Curly brackets, where, Ben? Here? There? Okay. Where do we close them? Like here. Right? That's correct. Every time we have if else, with more than one instruction, we need to surround it by curly bracket. Do we need it here? We don't need it there because we have one instruction. However, my suggestion is put it in because now the code looks more predictable. You are consistent. Every time you have an if, curly bracket. Every time you have else, curly bracket, regardless of what do you have inside of it. Make sense? Right, so that's correct. And that's pretty much it regarding beginners. Thank you very much.